No, it's on a public IP with no firewall.
I
I know that. I don't know.
Greetings, you've landed at the VUC, IP Communications and VoIP Community. We would like to thank Simwood.com for their support. Simwood can turn you as a developer into a telco. Our hosted PBX is from onsip.com, and you can go to getonsip.com for a URL people can click to call you. We've been privileged over the last 5 years to be using the best conference bridge on the planet. Yes, I'm talking about zipdx.com, full color, full featured, full HD conference bridge. Our website, vuc.me on the webs, hosted by bluehost.com. And our worldwide local rate dial-ins are from voxbone.com.
Thank you for the pre-roll, Michael. We're coming live from Cluecon. At least somebody is. I'm not there, but James will be talking to James. We will be talking to James in just a moment. And, of course, Mr. David Duffett, winner of one of the dangerous demos, we'll be talking to him, too. But first, we need to tell you about Astrocon, where you can meet David and probably a lot of the same people. Astrocon is October 13th to 15th. It's in Orlando, Florida, and it's a particularly good place to bring the significant other and child units, if you have any of those, because it's a Disneyland, Disney World, whatever it is, like property, Universal property that people will want to visit. Okay, there's, if we can settle down on the, we're going to switch over to the NASA control room like atmosphere. And James has a wandering cam, but I'm not sure. Here, we're going to switch over to James right now. James, take it away.
Hi. Are you getting my video and audio?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. We're here live from the Intercontinental Hotel in Chicago. And I'll just switch the camera view, and I'll just pan around so you can see. Over in the corner, over here, we have a cluster of people who are running the VUC Google Hangout in parallel with a Verto video conference. The two are running in parallel and are then bridged. I think we're streaming from both the Verto and VUC directly onto YouTube. So, and over here, we have the one and only, the infamous Mr. Tony Minasala, father, founder, and outright brain behind FreeSwitch. We're going to be having a chat with him a little bit later. But just going around the room, this gentleman over here is Brian West. In fact, he's over there as well, I think. Who runs the community
the only person in this conference.
Well, what's going on? Where did that come from?
Sorry, that came from, from me. I joined Verto and got music video.
Okay, over here we've got Italo, who's done the new front end, Francisco from Milano, and over there a gentleman who I will introduce later. But we'll come back to him. Then running around the corner here, we have the indomitable, where is he? Here he is. This person here, Andy Smith, with David Duffett from Digium, Asterisk. And then a couple of other people over here. We have William King, who is doing something. I don't know what you're doing on there. William is doing something, and he very rapidly mutes his screen. So anyway, let's go back to me for a second. We're going to give you a very quick roundup of some of the highlights from Cluecon. I always said Astrocon there, cracking up. I only just got back from breakfast. But the first person we're going to talk to is Anthony. I've got to switch my camera back again. Now, can you switch the camera view to the Verto bridge, Michael?
Okay, I'll give you a view of the Verto bridge. I'm not connected to anything right now, but you're definitely seeing. Hang on. Can we select that? There we go. Well, I'll select it. I don't know what that means exactly, but
okay. Well, I'm looking at
the dial pad is
Anthony. Yeah, from a slightly different angle. In fact, if I pull this out, you should be able to hear. This is all going horribly wrong. So, Anthony, can you see Anthony?
I can.
Okay. Can you hear Anthony?
Can you hear me? Hello.
Yes. Now I'm not. We're not seeing him in Verto. I'm not connected. When I tried to connect to Verto momentarily a few moments ago, I got.
I'm showing him on James's camera.
Okay, we'll just interview Anthony on my camera and then we'll get Anthony to introduce Verto.
Okay.
So, Anthony, tell us a little bit about what has gone down here at Cluecon.
Well, this year we added a new day to Cluecon. We had a hackathon on the first day. It's called the Coder Games. We had several API vendors sponsor an event to have people make different things out of their various APIs, and each API awarded a prize. That went really well. I'd say about 2/3 of the attendees came for that. So that kind of represented the more programming savvy users, and they had fun competing and drinking Red Bull and
lots of drinking going on here, definitely. So in fact, we've just survived 4 days. This is our 5th day on the trot of intense teching.
Yep.
Yeah, lots of amazing things going on, like this in the corner, which you've already seen. Other highlights include the unveiling of the new front end for Verto, the WebRTC front end for FreeSwitch. Would you like to tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. Well, since we started working on this project a few years ago to bring WebRTC to FreeSwitch, we have been working with sort of a makeshift client that I use to demonstrate all the features to myself as I'm going through the test. And as I added things to it, it was usable, but kind of more designed around the idea of going through a test matrix, because it's basically just a large page with all the features out there. We cleaned it up a little bit when we added the video support, but really it wasn't very usable to the public. They tended to be confused by it.
Yeah, it was a bit scary. Yeah, we ended up with a one big scrollable web page.
Yeah, it's sort of like if you take someone to a sound booth and show them the mixer, they don't know what to do. There's too many buttons everywhere. So so our friends in the community decided to start a project to use our core libraries for Verto and exercise the ability to make other things from it. So they basically looked at all the feature set of my tested program and tried to make the feature-rich, more user-friendly equivalent, which came out to be Verto Communicator. It's almost feature parity with my test reference code, but it's got a little bit more to go, but it's very useful at this point. It has integrated chat and some similar features to Google Hangouts as far as breaking and list of users to choose to.
And all built using HTML5.
Yeah.
So it's very clean.
And it's a good example of the benefits of MCU. During my keynote this year, I was talking about that because we have both Google Hangouts and Jitsi Video Bridge handling the development of the SFU model for video chat, where FreeSwitch is more geared towards the MCU model because we have integration with legacy telephony and things like that, and that's the important thing to a lot of users. They want to be able to bring together SIP calls and WebRTC into the same element and mix them together, or they use the gateway, the audio from WebRTC call to something like TM or SIP tracking.
Yeah, one of the great things about Verto is that it always has been incredibly capable on the back end, but the challenge has always been making it easy for the people who use it to leverage some of that gear, some of that functionality. Anyway, I'm going to whiz over here and see whether we can have a quick word with Italo, who wrote the front end, and then we'll have a quick word with Brian, who hopefully then can show it to us. Okay. Well, we'll come back to you in a second. Right, whizzing over here. This fine young gentleman here is Italo from Brazil, and speak up and shout because you're going to be using my microphone, I think. So, okay. So, when did you decide that you were going to write a new user interface for Verto?
We talked on our company called Evolux. We are talking about the currently Verto interface. So internally, we are talking about, hey, we could do a more user-friendly interface. So, and we had this idea, and the next day, Brian was talking to me, and he told me, hey, I think we could do a better Verto interface. So, you think you guys can do it? So
how long ago was that?
3 months.
3 months, yeah.
Yeah, 3 months. 3 months. And I just told him, hey, we just talked last day about this, and so yes, for sure, we can do it.
So you did it?
Yeah, it's done now.
Brilliant. Okay, moving on to Brian. Can you just tell us a little bit about the user interface, what your objectives were, and if you dare, share where people who are listening to this can go to join in, because it's possible to them to join in on the conference bridge, isn't it?
Correct, it is. So what we set out to do was, one, simplify the usage. If you noticed in the old engineering Verto demo that we started out with, which was basically an engineering tool, people wouldn't catch the end call button, they would close the browser. It wasn't as user-friendly. It just wasn't as well organized. So we wanted to start something that was that looked nice, was in tree, we supported, everybody used, so that somebody would see what you could do if you set out to build something fresh out of the libraries that we've published with the Verto protocol.
And I've seen it, I've used it, it certainly is there. From my perspective, it completely revolutionizes my use of Verto. It's incredible. It's just like having a completely new conference bridge.
Yes, yes.
So where can people go right now to experience this live?
They can go to, I'll post it in the VUC channel so they can see it.
Yeah, so Randy or Michael, if you see this coming down the VUC channel, can you just repost that on IRC and somewhere else?
And you call the test with.
Okay. So if anybody wants to have a go at that, they can join in. And whilst people are doing that, I'm going to whiz across to the other side of the room, and we're going to talk very briefly, whilst people are getting set up on the Verto bridge, we're going to talk a little bit about dangerous demos, which is something that I do. So I'm running across the other side of the room now. We're going to have to mute. There we go. And over here, we have Mr. David Duffett, who this year was the primary, the leading winner of a TruePhone Dangerous Demo Prize.
A trophy or prize it was, the engraved or internally engraved glass. Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah, indeed.
Would you like me to tell you what the demo was?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's get in close, and we can see what you actually did.
There's a Raspberry Pi here, and in reverence of the growing friendship between the FreeSwitch and Asterisk projects, it was an Asterisk-powered Raspberry Pi, but powered by a FreeSwitch battery.
Can we get in close and see that? There we are, a FreeSwitch battery pack
powering
with an Asterisk Raspberry Pi.
Raspberry Pi there, and Asterisk was got WebRTC support built in, and I was browsing onto this wirelessly, because you can see it has a wireless access point, and other than that, it is a totally wireless thing. There are no strings attached. Browsing onto it and getting up the JS SIP soft phone. Now, I can't actually do the audio part of the demo because people will understand that Chrome on iOS doesn't properly support WebRTC right now. But we played out a rather lovely prompt over the PA in the Cluecon main hall of Alison giving a cryptic WebRTC based message, and that was what won the prize.
Yeah. And that was it.
It was it. It was short and sweet. I only took 2 of the 4 minutes allocated, but I think it was perhaps the compactness and also the featuring of Free Switch and Asterisk in the same demo.
Well, that and Alison. In fact,
and maybe a bit of Alison.
Yeah, I think you probably got a few extra points because of Alison.
Quite possibly.
Okay. Well, that was great. That was one of the dangerous demos, but there were others, weren't there?
There were many more. Tim Panton, of course, always a star in the dangerous demos, had a Lego vehicle that he was controlling over WebRTC. And there were a number of others, some of which didn't work so well, and I think a prize was allocated for a crash and burn, wasn't it?
Yeah, we had a crash and burn, but I'm not going to shame the people who got that one. But what I am going to do is I'm going to rush over here to interview another winner. Over here, we have a gentleman by the name of Seven Do. Seven, tell everybody where you have come from.
Came from China.
All the way from China. And it's not your first time here at Cluecon, is it?
It's no, it's the 5th year.
It's his 5th year. So, little known fact, Seven has actually written the Chinese book manual for Free Switch.
Yeah.
So,
Free Switch is definitely.
Yeah. How much Free Switch is used in China now?
A lot of users.
Yeah.
Really, I don't know, but there's almost 2,000 users in the instant message group in China QQ.
Yeah, it just shows how global Free Switch has become now. Now, dangerous demos. Tell us what you did for dangerous demos that won your prize.
This year dangerous demos, I actually made 2 topics. One is that I'm reading a model called Mode Act11, and I can send video to the Act11 server, so it can make the videos and make the desktop application and same. And another is that I made Free Switch to solve Sudoku. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, it was a live game of Sudoku, which had a very rapid conclusion because we kind of ran out of time at the end, but it was all done extremely well. Anyway, Seven is not a stranger. He's won a dangerous demo before. Seven is also famous for producing some of the most amazing hardware. What was it, 2 years ago, managed to not only burn the carpet, but all burnt Adam Kelsey's hands when he tried to pick it up. So well done, Seven. That's great. Right, we're going to go back over here now. Back to Brian and Anthony. Has anybody joined the conference?
Yes, we have Italo, Mr. King, and Anthony, Michael Graves, Giovanni, and me.
Okay, I'm just having a look. I can probably switch over. Oh, yeah, so I can see that now. Yeah, I'm actually wandering around using an iPad, which is on Google Hangouts. But through the miracle of technology, I can actually look and see what Verto looks like. So going from top left, we've got Italo, William King, Tony, Michael Graves, Francisco, and Brian West. Giovanni. So sorry, I'm sorry, Giovanni. This is Giovanni. Yeah. So what do you do, Giovanni? What's your part in this?
And I'm part of the community, and I'm helping mostly with documentation, writing books, and things for Skype and GSM.
Yeah. And that's the important thing about Free Switch. It's all a community, an international community, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. I'm going to cut back to Brian very rapidly. I want you to say a bit more about what you're up to and about
Just what I
Cluecon,
did.
yeah.
Well, we've wrapped up the week-long event today. We're doing a training on FreeSwitch. There's about 25 people in the room next to us, and so that's what we've done here. And now we put everybody in as an administrator in this, so everybody's playing around with the admin controls. So I'm sitting here watching the layout change, and it's distracting me. But anyway, so my role is I plan Cluecon, set up the event, bring the community together, try to inspire others to do things to help the community out. For example, like Italo said, this was one of those moments when we started the Virtual Communicator Project, where it was a community-sparked, community-driven aspect, and we all were there to help answer questions, and there were features that came out of we could do this easier if we had this, and so we worked real close with Italo and his team to come up with new features and functionality that help make it even better.
Yeah. Yeah, without that, new Verto is a massive step forward. Okay. Should we go back to Tony? Well, I'll go back to Tony in a moment, but Tony did a dangerous demo, didn't he?
Yes.
Tell us a bit about that dangerous demo.
It was the Tic Tac Verto, wasn't it? That's what you did. So,
Hollywood Squares?
The Hollywood Squares clone that we use Verto and the NCU and FreeSwitch to do. And we started on that last week sometime, writing the features and functionality to allow that to function. And I think we pulled it off. It was 100% controlled by DTMF. So he could sit there on his cell phone controlling and Xing or Oing the squares, and it would automatically, if somebody won.
Yeah. And that is 7 there, causing the...
You would think that we would have those kinds of, us being the people that deal with this data, we wouldn't have that happen, but we still have audio snafus and whatnot come up.
Yeah. And so Tony's challenge, in fact, I'm going to go whizzing back to Tony now. Whoosh. Tony's challenge, which I bullied him into, was to complete a full game of Hollywood Squares in less than 4 minutes.
That's right. That was pretty challenging, but we managed.
Managed to do it with 2 seconds to spare, and the whole thing was engineered in FreeSwitch, multiple panes with multiple. In fact, they were simulated people in the squares, weren't they, for this one?
Yeah, we loaded videos of various celebrities giving commencement speeches, something we pulled off YouTube right before, because we didn't have enough bandwidth to bring people. The server being on the internet, in the hotel having limited connectivity for the attendees, we couldn't.
Yeah, well, that's a measure of the sort of activity that was going on here. So Tony did an earlier version of Hollywood Squares, which ran into problems because of limited bandwidth. So overnight, he completely re-engineered it so that the people in the squares were actually automated, and then FreeSwitch ended up asking the questions to the contestants.
Yeah, we had there was an IVR that was also available. So you would call into the IVR, and basically it just turned the phone into a number pad control. So we had different key combinations to, one of them would ask the question, one would repeat the last question, and one of them would put a square. And, because since the game board happens to look a lot like a BTMF pad,
yeah,
it worked well together. So you could press the square number and like whether or not you wanted to be X or O. It had kept state, so if once somebody won, you could win by either having 5 of the squares or by having a protect goal.
And what was amazing is it all just worked perfectly, which is why for the next dangerous demo, which will be in Astricon, we're inventing a new category of prize. We're going to call this the Swan Prize. And it's called the Swan Prize because a swan, when you see it gliding across the water, it appears to be totally effortless. But if you had an underwater camera, you would see quite a lot of stuff going on underneath the water. So the Swan Prize it's in the category of somebody who comes up with something absolutely amazing and it just works, but it doesn't look very dangerous. And that's been Tony's problem, is that every time he does something, it looks totally effortless, when in fact what's going on underneath the surface is truly amazing, but you just don't get to see what's going on underneath the surface, and it doesn't look dangerous.
I think Tim's going to end up winning that a lot of times too.
Yes, Tim Panton is probably the major competitor, competing with people like Tony here, because he comes out with the most amazing tech, and these days, most of the time, it just works, which is amazing in itself. So that's going to be a new category for dangerous demos in Astricon. And with that, I think we probably want to hand it back to you, Randy and Michael, so that the VOC listeners can ask a few questions, and we'll see whether we can wander around and get some deep and meaningful answers for you.
There actually was a question in IRC, if I can scroll back up to find it, which was, I'm looking. Where in trunk is it? Has it replaced the existing Verto client?
Did you get that, Tony? Where in trunk is the front end for Verto? Is it in there?
It should be in our Git repository.
Yeah, it's the same folder, HTML5.
We have an HTML5 subfolder from our root of our Git server where we keep all of those things, and it's right in there.
Okay.
The library for the JavaScript is in there too. Basically, Verto as a JavaScript thing, and then the clients are alongside it. They just load it just like any other web app. You load in the JS library if you need.
Okay.
And the rest is HTML.
So that's where it is. In fact, over to Brian. Can you be more precise and drop a link onto the?
I sure can.
Yeah, and we'll post that back on IRC. So that answers that one. So any more questions? Randy, do you want to see Mira?
Yeah.
Yeah, whilst I've been talking to you, I just had a message from Mira saying, sorry I missed breakfast, I was asleep.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping that Mira will come tripping in any moment now.
Y'all have been keeping her occupied, I'm sure. Could I pose a question to Brian? Because there was a picture, and I'm thinking I'm going to fetch it. There was a picture you guys posted online a little while ago that was like multiple monitors with multiple monitors showing multiple different layouts. I'm trying to fetch it now.
Oh yeah, hold on. Can you hear what he's saying? Okay, I'll go away over here. And Brian, if you turn up the volume a bit, then okay, Michael, ask your question again.
Okay, Brian, I'm looking at a picture that you guys put online, Ken put online via his Twitter feed not long ago. And what he's got 4 monitors with all different displays going of the Verto MCU functions. Could you explain that? I'll actually put the picture online. Give me half a second, and then explain what we're actually looking at here, because this is kind of interesting. Just give me a moment to get it collected. Here, how's that? Could you explain that to me?
Where did you post it at?
It's actually well, hang on. It's in the Hangout. I can't conveniently show it, but I'll drop it in the IRC channel.
What Ken's showing off there is the multi-canvas, super canvas. So you can have a conference with multiple canvases, and then you can have each canvas on a different television, and then you can choose where on the multi-canvas you put things. Like the picture that's there is the top monitor is what's called the super canvas, which is all of the sub canvases of the conference in one screen. And then each of those canvases can be standalone, so you can have multiple TVs.
So when you say TV, so it's all one computer doing this. It's not.
Yes, one computer doing this, but you can have multiple displays putting a different canvas up. On if you had 4 TVs set up, you could have each one dial into a different canvas, and they would all be on the wall.
I have a question. Oops. I'm on. I have a question about this, Brian.
Okay, go ahead.
which is, so the canvases, for example, if you just have, you keep saying TV screens, if you've got multiple screens, like 3 screens on a computer, can you put one canvas on each screen or not?
Yes, you can. You sure can.
So
the Verto
so depending on
the Verto communicator doesn't support the multi-canvas stuff because we wrote that very recently and it didn't have time to get integrated on the first release. So we're working with those guys to integrate the multi-canvas and some new features and functionality that we've come up with this week that we want to see implemented. So it allows you to have, say, 2 parties on one screen and a screen share on a full screen. So, you know, better collaborative interface.
That's actually one of the most impressive things I've heard so far. I'm not that familiar with everything, but people are saying that the interface is much better. And HTML5 has loomed large today. But what you just said is super interesting. I don't recall seeing that anywhere else. Michael might want to chime in on it. In fact, I'll put that shot back up because that's really impressive, and I didn't see it. Also want to mention that what we're doing right here, I'm switching the views around so that showing you when you're talking, when you have a better shot of you, and then James has the microphone. So we're doing this manually, and as a result, it's probably slightly jerky, but there it is. Right now we're looking at that image that Michael mentioned with the multiple screens, which, as I say, I think that's pretty impressive. To put you back on, Brian, or anybody have questions or comments?
Yeah, any more? Oops, I'll move away. If there are, well, let's see. Are there any more questions? If there aren't, I've got somebody else to say hello to. No more questions? Okay, I'm going to come over here. I'm going to mute, and Andy, you unmute. Oops.
Okay, I'm unmuted. Yeah.
Okay. Got Mr. Andy Smith here, who was responsible for the voting system in Dangerous Demos, which in itself was quite exciting this year. Would you like to explain why?
Well, when we first used actually, we're not the first time. The last time we used the voting system, which was the second time we'd used the voting system, it was noted by certain participants, or not actually participants of the demos themselves, but others in the room, and of course we are talking about rooms full of telephony geeks here, that it was plausible to hack the voting system by putting false votes in from phone numbers which weren't actually routable, so I couldn't actually reply to them.
It was very funny, wasn't it? Because we ended up with blocks of 50 votes flying around all over the place, and people thought, oh, look, I've won, and then all of a sudden they hadn't.
A feature of the system is that you can change your vote. So because you can change your vote, it's possible to move blocks of votes around if you've got blocks of votes under your control. So we tried to stop this time, and we have noted the perpetrator from last time. And
he was present in the room.
He was indeed present in the room, and indeed up to his tricks again.
Is Andy allowed to name this man?
I'm not sure as I should, but I'm going to.
He is British, and his name is?
His name might be Alex Kinch. It may not, of course. It may. I have to say, in his defence, he was not the only one trying to hack it on this occasion. But what happened was that we detected some fraudulent activity, and every time we did, at a certain rate, a picture of Alex Kinch was up on the screen and being named and shamed, which caused much amusement to various people, possibly not to Alex himself, though.
It caused me a certain amount of hassle, because one of the things that somebody did, which may have or may not have been Alex, was that he was sending in votes from what was purporting to be one of my numbers, and so I kept on getting the acknowledgements back, and my watch on my wrist went totally bananas, and just was vibrating me to death, and totally distracting me.
Yeah, I wasn't quite sure whether it was going to be your watch that ran out of battery first, or that we were going to actually finish the voting.
Right. Well, that was a bit of fun. Needless to say, when we get on to Astricon, our next Dangerous Demos, the voting system will be
tighter.
Well, completely revamped.
I think it's going to work a different way next time.
And rather interestingly, because
that's a great cue to move. Sorry.
Yeah, because the the Asterisk team managed to win a dangerous demo at Cluecon, we're going to have Brian representing the Freefix team doing a dangerous demo at Astricon. So
yes, I've already offered Brian an Asterisk battery pack for him to use in his one, just like I used the Free Switch battery pack in my one. So we'll have to see how that works out.
Brilliant. Okay, any more questions now, Randy? Back to you.
No, in fact, I was just going to say that it would be time to move the camera over to David, which somebody just did. Andy, I guess. Thank you. And go ahead with that little segment. Or was that it? Is that all you got?
Yeah, no, I can give you a little bit more detail.
Status update.
We've now finalised the schedule for Astricon, and as people know, I'm sure, it's on October 13th to 15th over there at the Lowe's Universal Hotel in Orlando. We've got more than 50 sessions this year, all of which are very exciting. And of course, this year we've got, very first time, the free PBX World track alongside the traditional tracks. We've actually got 5 different tracks running at once going on. So lots of stuff. And unfortunately, the same thing has happened. Well, I say unfortunately, it's just a product of having a lot of good talks. But the situation is, when you look at the content matrix and identify the kind of talk you want to go and see, you then see that there are 2, 3, or even 4 now competing talks, all of which at the kind of level you really want to go and see those as well. But fortunately, they'll all be videoed, so those who actually go live into the room to see one will be able to catch up with the others at a later date. So the content grid is now up on astricon.org. It's very unlikely to change too much, and there's everything from WebRTC and security to talks from other projects like Camelio and OpenSIPs. I noticed Docker is beginning to feature in the talks as well, people using Docker to ease the deployment of multiple Asterisk servers and stuff like that. So all in all, a fairly well-rounded set of talks, I think.
Excellent.
Could anybody imagine if Ford gave a show of their line of autos that they would invite General Motors and Subaru? I mean, this is always really great. It's great to see you at Cluecon. It'll be great to see them at Astricon. And as far as the multiple, since I've experienced this myself, sometimes it's really hard to choose on the track you want to see. Fortunately, you have other people that you're talking to who go, well, did you see such and such? And you go, no, no. And as you said, they're available via video. And in the meantime, more importantly, you're right there geographically. You're right in that place. So you can always seek out the person who, I have never seen anyone who doesn't want to talk about what they're doing at Astricon. So that's not a problem either.
Just to remind everybody, are you going to be at Astricon this year, Randy?
David, I'm sure he is, yes.
Oh, David.
And moving right along. Oh, this year? No, I'm
not this year.
No, I'm not this year. But everybody else, everyone important will be there this year, first of all, I think. And I had another thing I wanted to say about Astricon, and I'm trying to remember what it was. Allison will, of course, be there, I'm sure.
Allison will be there.
Oh, I know what it was, David. It was that you will be doing a last-minute update with us in September, or maybe very early October. I don't have a calendar in front of me, but one of the Fridays you'll pick a date and you will let us know the very, very last-minute thing that happens. Okay?
Yeah, I'll be in touch, Randy, to set that date with you, and I'll look forward to doing that.
Okay.
All right.
Right. I think if there are no other questions, we're probably approaching the end. But I want to come back to Tony just to have a final word about where we're going next. And as somebody is shouting into his cell phone as he goes running past, just to prove this is live. So Tony, you want to say a few words about Cluecon and where we go next?
Well, next year Cluecon is going to be at the Swiss Hotel, which is about a 5-minute walk from where it was this year. And it looks like it's going to be a great venue. We get our own floor this time, so if we weren't rowdy enough having our own half a floor, now we have the entire floor to ourselves. It can be as loud as we want, which will be fun. We have a new mission. This will be the 12th Cluecon, and we really need to get Randy to come. So anyone out there listening wants to help sponsor the effort to make sure Randy comes to Cluecon.
Yeah, we have to get Randy to Cluecon.
We'll help you out with that.
And it's worth saying that there is music at Cluecon, isn't there?
Yeah, there is.
And cocktails?
Yes.
Sipsmith
That's a good point. That's 2 of the 3 requirements.
Unofficial cocktail parties.
Yeah. So definitely. Sorry, I'm being told off because I'm not pointing in the right direction.
Right. It was a nice view of the hat, though. Was it a nice view of the hat? Okay. All right. Well, I think, unless you've got anything else.
As usual, when you pop in and visit, we have time every Friday. So.
And I think the VUC is going to have to track the progress of Verto, and I think we've reached a stage now where the engine is just about it. Well, it's all there. It's just sorting out the front end, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's the real challenge.
There's a lot of all the usability issues are coming up now for client ideas. We were just chatting a minute ago about making the call center features, so you can see your call queue from the UI. Basically, this is the beginning steps of trying to bring more HTML5 parity with FreeSwitch. So as we go, we're going to work on expanding Verto to extend not only browser FreeSwitch relationship, but other applications and middleware, and use it for more things, some more interesting stuff. So as the year progresses, we'll get further on that. We'll come along with updates, and next year we will go somewhere quieter when we do this.
Yeah, without all these people wandering by.
But,
just a quick note responding to what...
We'll keep everyone up to date as we get further along. Our 1.6 release will probably reach its .0 status in the next 2 or 3 weeks. And we'll go through a testing phase, and hopefully by next spring we'll have start working on our next 1.8 version.
Excellent. Well, I think, Tony, I think everybody within the VUC community would like to thank you for all the hard work that you and the team put in, because what you've achieved with your small team is truly amazing, really brilliant.
You are now muted.
Thank you for that.
You are now
And with that, Randy,
can I just jump in?
Hand it back to you. Hang on.
Could I just jump in here a moment? I would like to point out that it's in fact Tony's birthday today. So happy birthday, Tony, from all of us.
So happy birthday, Tony. And you will note that Tony got a present from the community here.
Cool.
He got an Apple Watch, which is better than my Pebble. So there, no device envy at all, and nowhere near as good as Randy's Android watch. But yeah, we can't have everything. Anyway, back to you. I'll shut up and let you wrap up.
All right, we are going to wrap up, and I'm going to definitely follow the progress. We were not going to get too adventurous this week because I'm on the road, and all of the technical acumen was on Michael, and he's got enough of it. He's got 100% of it, but it's not that easy to do this with the proper audio and all that. James, you did a great job, really exemplary, a remote reporter, so very good. I think you've got a new job coming. And with that, we're going to end the broadcast. I don't have a music or a way to play any music out, so that'll be post-production. But everybody on the Hangout, thank you. The FreeSwitch team, you did a great job. And for those of you watching or listening, what can I say? Thanks for your participation. It's all good, and you're all good.